Imagine a lawsuit filed against your business tomorrow. Customer dispute, contract conflict, or an injury claim. The business is named in the lawsuit, but the opposing attorney asks a different question. Should the owner be personally responsible too? That question changes everything. We'll look at what information courts examine, what patterns they interpret, and why some businesses that believe they were protected discovered during litigation that the structure never truly separated them from the company. Because once litigation begins, courts have to determine something fundamental: whether the business actually existed as an independent entity, or whether it functioned as an extension of the owner. And the answer to that question is rarely decided by the formation documents. It's decided by the behavior of the business over time. When a dispute reaches the court, the judge is trying to answer a simple but powerful question. Did the business operate independently from the owner? Or did the owner operate the business as an extension of themselves? This distinction determines who bears responsibility: the company or the individual. Courts call that analysis separation, but separation is not proven by the filing of documents. It's proven by operational behavior. The court begins with the formation documents: articles of organization, articles of incorporation, operating agreements, bylaws. These documents confirm that the entity exists, but existence alone doesn't prove independence. The court has to evaluate whether the entity functioned as a separate organization. So the analysis continues. Courts examine who actually made decisions inside the business, who signed contracts, who approved obligations, who directed operations. If every decision consistently came from one individual, the court may conclude that authority never left the owner. The entity existed legally, but operational authority remained centralized. And that pattern signals dependency. Think of the business entity like a uniform. When a player wears the uniform, they represent the team. But if the player ignores the team's structure and acts entirely on their own, the uniform doesn't change their behavior. It only changes the appearance. And courts are not interested in uniforms. They examine whether the team actually existed. Next, the court examines financial behavior. Did the business maintain its own financial identity? Did the company maintain separate accounts? Did the company maintain reserves? Or did the owner frequently move money between personal and business finances? These financial patterns reveal whether the business truly operated as a distinct and separate financial unit. If the owner regularly absorbed financial pressure personally, the court may interpret the business differently. At this point, many business owners recognize something uncomfortable, because the court is not evaluating what the owner intended. It's evaluating what actually happened. And a business may operate for years believing it's separate, but if the operational patterns consistently point back to the owner, the court may interpret the structure differently. That interpretation only appears once pressure forces the question. Courts also examined what happened during the stressful moments, when the obligations became difficult, when the disputes occurred, when contracts became strained. Who resolved those situations? If the owner personally stepped in to stabilize every crisis, the court may conclude the business depended entirely on the owner. Again, this doesn't automatically invalidate the entity, but it does affect how responsibility is interpreted. Courts also review formal business practices, meeting records, corporate resolutions, operational policies, employee supervision. These documents reveal whether the company operated with internal structure. Businesses with documented governance appear more independent. Businesses operating informally appear more owner-driven. Imagine you build a bridge yourself. Not an engineer, just you, YouTube, and confidence. On a clear day, it looks solid. You drive your car across it, friends cross it, everything feels fine. So you tell yourself, the bridge works. But then one day, a fully loaded 18-wheeler hits the bridge during a storm. And halfway across, the structure starts to bend. Not because the storm created the weakness, not because the truck did anything unusual, but because the bridge was never designed for real weight in the first place. Your business is just a car, your day-to-day operations. That's light traffic. So everything feels like it's working. But the lawsuit, that 18-wheeler, a creditor, the sustained weight, a partner dispute, uneven pressure, personal liability, stress on the wrong joints. That's when the question shows up. Was this structure designed for pressure? Or was it just appearance? Nobody questions a bridge when the weather is good. But bridges don't fail in calm conditions. They fail under load. And business structures don't fail when things are going right. They fail when something goes wrong. If the court concludes the business functioned as an extension of the owner, responsibility may extend beyond the entity. The court may still exist, but the legal shield becomes weaker. This is why lawsuits often expand from the business to the individual behind it, because courts are trying to ensure responsibility reaches the correct party. If you're launching a business, this episode shows why operational structure matters from the beginning. Separation is not something you install later. It's something that must exist in the daily operation of the company. If you already operate a business, this episode becomes diagnostic. It helps you evaluate whether your company actually functions independently. Because courts rarely explain these interpretations in advance. They appear only when disputes force the question. Courts don't evaluate intentions. They evaluate patterns. Patterns of authority, patterns of financial behavior, patterns of responsibility. And from those patterns, the court determines whether the business operated independently from the owner. If it did, the structure holds. If it didn't, structure may extend or responsibility may extend further than expected. And understanding how courts evaluate structure reveals something many founders never realize. And that's that a real test of business structure is not formation. It's how the business behaves under pressure.